Next, attention turned to welfare benefits for the unemployed. They were too high, it was claimed, and were undermining the Reserve Bank's strategy to get wages down.
The real criterion for assistance was need, and it didn't matter how the need occurred. If a person was in need, they ought to be helped. And they ought to be helped to the level in which they could participate and belong in New Zealand society and eat the same sort of food as other New Zealanders eat, play the sort of games, wear the same sort of clothes, partake in a modest way in the same sort of entertainment and social life. That had been the single focus for the system.
Free market theory said that when there wasn't much difference between a low wage and the dole, beneficiaries had less and less incentive to look for work. The Reserve Bank wanted the unemployment benefit lowered. But how far?
What I will do is I'll contact you on Friday.
Treasury's social policy branch tried to determine what American economists call a minimum income standard. In other words, a poverty line.
I have responsibility for family assistance and sole parents, and have also been looking at work on adequacy, how you define what an adequate income is.
Treasury economists Marianne Ainsley and Edith Brashares based their calculations on home budgeting plans developed by Dunedin researchers.
We have very good dietary guidelines, and we are aware of the quantities people need to ingest all the nutrients that they need. We make up a sensible amount of food that a man, a woman, children of different ages will eat in 1 week.
Those researchers had come up with 4 food budgets: liberal, moderate, basic, and low.
The low end is that some people wish to be very careful about how much they spend on food. Some people have excellent skills. They can cook well. They say, I'm quite happy to take low-cost meats, cook them long and slow, spend time preparing everything from scratch.
For their Treasury calculations, Ainsley and Brashares took the lowest budget food plan as their baseline.
This illustrates the income gap, 7 different poverty lines we drew. As you can see, the food time...
But they didn't tell the Dunedin researchers what they were going to do with the budget food plan.
I looked at what people in the households I'd studied actually spent on food. If it was down in the low range, those people could not and did not sustain good nutrition. So it seemed to me it was not a good thing to put out a low range, because while originally we felt there were people who had the skills to eat well on that, current observation was saying that people did not have the ability and skills to eat well if they only spent what we considered a low budget amount.
Ainsley and Brashares took the low budget and reduced it by 20%.
No, it's just...
At that level, they calculated what Treasury called the New Zealand Income Adequacy Standard. Treasury officials used the standard as the basis for new welfare payments.
By the end of this day, Mr. Speaker, the new government will have moved to harmonise monetary, fiscal and labour market policies in a manner that will lay strong foundations for sustained growth and substantial reduction in unemployment. Thank you.
All welfare benefits were to be cut, with the biggest reductions for people on the unemployment benefit.
Suddenly, just a few days before Christmas, less than a week before Christmas, we were there in the office on the Wednesday afternoon, I think it was, and my manager came in and said, look, he said, they've made an announcement in Parliament, and here it is. And it was quite short, just 2 or 3 pages, but it completely overtook anything that we might be planning to do. Just in these few pages, it had completely changed the whole way in which the welfare system had been developing over the last, well, best part of 50 years.
There is some work out there that people currently decline because they say that they are better off on a benefit. One of the major reasons why this government has had to face up to doing the things that we announced is that we need to create the gap between work and welfare.
Dr. Branch, are the savings announced today sufficient to take the pressure off money?
it's quite clear that the changes announced have been substantial, and we've issued a press statement today already. In fact, I think it's issued roughly contemporaneously, indicating that we believe the changes have been very constructive in terms of taking the pressure off monetary policy.
The unemployment benefit for single adults was cut by a quarter.
Hi, I was just wondering if there's any job vacancies available.
Nothing at all. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
Rightio.
I go down to warehouses and factories all through Penrose, Otahu, Onehunga, Avondale, which I've been through and got nothing.
You say you've been around here. You've been along Rosebank Road?
Yes, I've been to just about every factory down here and every shop. I've been over here, all the way down here to these shops down here, through Sontana, Cadbury, right through there.
Will the benefit cuts make you try harder to get work, do you think?
I can't try any harder.
In Kaitaia, on the day benefit cuts came in, unemployment had already reached 15%.
Things like what had been set aside for rates and power and that, which was before the sexual cut come in, it's all had to be altered now.
If you pay your bills, you can't do any grocery shopping. And we end up with $36 a week for our food shopping. And you can't do it with $36.
Right, so you've really felt the cuts have affected you quite badly, haven't they?
They've come in about.
Soon, thousands of families were relying on charity for their food.
From this time last year, it's tripled, and it went up, doubled the number in a month after the benefit cuts came in, and it's going up. And it's different people coming in. This is an interesting thing. I don't know whether you're getting different ones.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. But the people are coming in are new people. They're not ones that have been coming all the time.
You find they're really embarrassed too.
They are. They hate it. Yes,
they stand there sort of twisting their handbags, don't they? Putting their heads down.
Okay. See you later.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Raymond from the Budget Service.
Oh, hi.
How have things been going in the last week?
Oh, not too good. Not too good at all.
Right. How was your food budget last week?
Poor.
I'm not confident that many of the people I deal with are able to have their needs met.
But they're surviving.
They are surviving in their terms. They are maybe not eating properly. They're maybe not able to clothe their children properly.
What are you managing to put away at the moment?
Oh, I've got about $50 at the moment, just over 50, about $52.
Right.
To last for the next about week, 10 days. My 7-year-old son, he's an asthmatic and he's supposed to have a second inhaler, and which the doctor gave me a prescription for a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't got that filled yet.
Right.
When I was asked the first time if I wanted a food parcel, I can remember my nose kind of going up in the air and thinking, I don't need a food parcel. Then I thought, come on, kid, be honest with yourself. You know, I didn't have anything there to feed the children, and you know, I just felt so ashamed that I couldn't do that. You know, you know, I'm their mother, and I've always taken that responsibility very highly, and you know, I love them and care for them very much, and having to choose whether to pay, you know, like to keep the power on, or whether to feed the children. You know, those sort of decisions are just inhumane.